All righty, man. What's good?
All right, what's good, man? What's good?
Ain't nothing
Look
much.
like I'm froze up a little bit.
Oh, you froze?
Yeah, I'm good now. I'm good now.
Okay. Okay.
Man, let me tell you. Let me look. Man, I'm looking around my house.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right.
Look, man. But first of all, man, my house is a whole mess, man. Got these contractors in here doing work, man, trying to get stuff finished by Thanksgiving. Man, I'm telling you, it's a pain in the patootie, as they say.
Hey, y'all gonna be able to get everything done?
Well, we trying. Look, it's
Okay.
it's it's, it's cutting it close, but
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see. Um, but yeah, man, there's a lot going on, man. Current events. I don't know where to start, but I do have a few shout outs though.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. One shout out is for my nephew, Sammy. Last time we spoke, he was a finalist for the JP Morgan internship,
Yep.
right? So our sister just let us know this week that he actually was offered the internship with JP Morgan Chase in Chicago.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
look,
oh.
ain't gonna get into his compensation for being an intern, but it has me questioning
Hey.
my life decisions. How about that?
Hey.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Uh, yeah. Last shout out, man. Look, I gotta shout out our grandson Jaden. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, Jaden, he actually made AB honor roll, and he actually made the Science Olympiad team.
What's the science Olympiad?
Yeah,
I'm
the Science Olympiad. Yeah, it's kind of like where they do they little, those things we do those little robot projects, these little things, teams compete against each other.
Yeah,
And I guess they got to solve some type of scientific issues or problems or put things together.
yeah.
And so it's like a science Olympiad. So he actually he made that team, and
Oh,
we
that's
we, we
nice.
had him sign a say it again.
I say that's good. Hold on.
Yeah, we had him
Yeah,
sign a contract. Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah. Look, we had him sign a contract. Oh, know what me and Tane were thinking? It's called the Academic Excellence Contract.
yeah.
And so with the contract, we had it written in like legal jargon. And basically, for every A he gets, we put $50 into a savings account we have for him. And for every B he gets, we put $25 right in his little savings account. So
Oh,
he couldn't wait to call us with the news.
oh,
A brother setting us back a lick.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Hey, you know
nevertheless,
what?
man, we
Whatever.
are. Say it again.
I said whatever works. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but nevertheless,
Yeah,
man, we kind of proud, man. You got any
that's
shout
good.
outs, man?
Yeah. I got a shout out for Camille. Um, the next few weeks, early January, she'll be spending her next semester in Paris.
Paris.
Yeah, yeah. So she'll be in France. So
Okay,
I know she's excited about that.
okay, cool deal. All right. So,
Something is
man, where we
going.
gonna get started, man? There's a lot going on. Where we gonna start
I
at?
I know. Um I think that we probably need to start with this video. I have a video that
Okay.
I'm gonna show.
All right. Cool.
And actually, you know what? Let's start local. Let's start local.
Local. Okay. Look. Okay.
Uh, Last week, elections was held. I think it was held last week. Yeah,
Yeah. Municipal elections. Uh huh.
municipal election was held. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna go ahead and show the screen real quick so that hold on. Let's see. And then we can kind of walk through it. All right. Can you see it?
Yeah. I
So
yeah I can see it. I see it.
okay. So this is what we're gonna focus on. If you focus on the bottom left, where it says ballot cast, okay,
Yeah.
14% out of 41,000 eligible voters. And so you see the mayor, so we have 6 city councilmen. And so you can kind of see, um, how many people vote. I mean, you look at hold on, you look at how many people voting.
Yeah.
So basically, you have 14% of the voting age population in Goldsboro that just decided the future for the next 4 years.
Wow.
And on top of that, if you look at the mayor, right now it's unofficial, but it's been separated by 6 votes. So
Wow.
yeah,
Man, look, it's one of those things, man. And I don't know how to address it as far as the importance of voting. Um, I don't know what it takes to uh, get people engaged, because what happens is that unfortunately people decide they want to vote or get involved when something happens. They
yeah,
react to it versus, oh, I'm gonna go vote now. Like the situation that happened with like Newbern football team. Oh, now we want to run for office. We gotta get a new
yeah,
superintendent. We got ourselves saying.
yeah,
When in reaction, they have school board meetings every month or so.
hmm
Um, I go to my town hall meetings here, right? And when I go to the town hall meeting, I look, it's me and probably a newspaper reporter, right? Right? But really, it's maybe about 1 or 2 people that are there. And these people, these on our town hall, the mayor and the people and the councilmen, they are
yes,
making decisions and voting on things that drastically impact my life, right?
yes,
They're making the budgeting
yeah,
decision, who gets the drainage, all kind of things that are happening. And here's what I tell people, man. Politics is local, right?
right,
I know we get caught up in national politics and in the House of Representatives, what's going on with the Senate, and what's going on in the White House. But I dare to say 70 to 80% of what impacts you on the local level. Your
yes,
school board, where your kids go to schools, allocation of resources, those type of things, it's on the local level. So for people not to be engaged is kind of disappointing. Um, and I tell people, man, listen, people, we had a discussion on my chat with my fantasy league team, and they were talking about, why people vote, don't vote Democrat, don't vote Republican, don't whatever. You know what I tell people, man? Vote your interest, right?
yeah, yeah,
And in order to vote your interest, you have to be informed, right? So, and I've said this before, Ant, when I'm voting, right? When I go to my town hall meeting and I see Mayor Hutch Jones and Highsmith and Mr. Wickline and all these people
hmm
here, you probably got some Democrats, some Republicans, what have you, right?
hmm
There are Democrats and Republicans up there that I will vote for because I see them making decisions that are in my interest on the local level.
hmm
Now, will I want some of those people on my town hall choosing my Supreme Court justice?
no, yeah, that's
No, you see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
But that's where the nuance come in, and that's where it comes being informed, right? So if you know your interest, that's what you vote. And sometimes your interest may not be the political party that people tell you to vote for. Like I see people vote a straight ticket. I say, "What you doing?"
yeah,
You just go down, check. I go to the vote, and the guy hand me a little thing, right? Is this just vote all Democrat, vote all Republican?
Yeah,
Makes no sense whatsoever
yeah, yeah,
because you don't know if you don't go to the town hall meetings, right? Or you don't go to your county commissioner meeting, or you don't go to your school board meeting, right?
yeah.
How can you make an informed decision about what these people are doing for you?
No,
So
no,
yeah, I get
you're
it,
right,
man. So
man.
yeah,
It's.
yeah,
I think it's very unfortunate because Goldsboro is, one of those rural towns, not a lot of industry. I think the biggest employer, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean that drives a lot of revenue here in Goldsboro. But uh, there is a large, how can I say it, a high poverty rate and not a lot of high
yes,
paying jobs. And I
yeah.
think the people who are affected the most, I would think that they would have a skin in the game, you know, because like
Well,
I said, this
well,
14% of the residents have just decided the future of Goldsboro.
well, and here's another thing too, man. Um, I think a lot of people like let's look at our experience, right? So we Trent Court, right?
Yep.
Right. So there are a lot of people who are maybe living from paycheck to paycheck, maybe struggling a little bit. They don't really see how going out to vote is going to impact their daily life.
Yeah.
They don't see how whether they vote or don't vote, how is that going to change my current condition when I'm struggling, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, people are susceptible. What's that? What Jamie said. Jamie said something. I think
Yeah.
sometimes people
Same in the
are
room.
yeah. Sometimes people are um, susceptible to when they're not informed. They fall into some of these echo chambers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or they get cynical and just don't care.
Oh yeah, they get cynical. That's right. And listen, in this environment, this political environment, and what's going on, you see all the lack of decorum, the lack of honest broker, people being honest brokers, people of chosen sides, no compromise.
Yeah.
Uh, it's very easy for a person to sit down and be cynical. I mean, right now, listen, this presidential election coming up,
Yeah.
so I'm like this because I'm a policy hawk, man. I do my reading and research, right? I mean, I
No,
know my
yeah. I
interest.
mean, we there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But here's the thing: we're in a country of what 300 some million people, right? In a country as diverse and young as the United States, potentially look at the two choices we have as president, right?
Okay.
So and so, and I don't know. I mean, it's tough when I look at who's choosing my Supreme Court justices, who's putting policies in place that will protect my rights as an African American or protect the rights of people who are underprivileged and
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. Um, Looking at who's making decisions against or for affirmative action that's still needed, that's still necessary.
Yes.
When you look at the nuance, when you look at who's going to put someone in place with banking regulation that stops unfair mortgage practices,
Mm-hmm.
who's going to put regulations against discrimination against home loans and appraisal things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. When you when you look at from that perspective, it's a no-brainer who I'll vote for. It's not because I like the person. It's because I know policy-wise what's in my best interest on the national level. But the thing is, nobody's having these nuanced discussions, right?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is it's not about how you feel.
Yeah.
I mean, because President Trump was former President Trump was elected because you're right, a lot of Republicans cared about Supreme Court justices. They cared about the
He
appellate
delivered.
justices. Yes,
He delivered.
and correct.
Yeah.
And so they hold their nose, get out of their feelings, and they went out and voted for him. So
Yeah. But the unfortunate part about that is that when you hold your nose, when you take your hand away from your nose, the stench is still there.
oh, it is. It is.
It's like January 6th, undermining democracy, right? All these things that are going on. Bringing in these wingnuts who were out in the woods playing games in the woods about Armageddon, off tending to their business, Then you bring these people into the midst. You just can't bring them in the midst and say, "Hey, let's go." Yeah. I'm finished with you, right? And now what you have a electorate, and you have a party, unfortunately, that's been kind of infiltrated by individuals who were, their stability could be questioned a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm just not opinion. Look at what they're saying. Look at what they're doing.
Correct.
So
Donald Trump has he has ushered in a new era of politics, particularly on the Republican side, that anything goes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't matter how, I don't like using right and left, but extreme. Yeah. It doesn't matter how extreme the policy. Because he's doing interviews now, and he's basically letting people know what he's going to do. That he's going to use the military to kind of stomp out protests. He said that he's going to start the largest deportation operation to just deport and I hate the term illegal aliens. I say immigrants who came here. He's basically saying that he's going to really weaponize the Justice Department against his enemies, his real or perceived enemies.
Which is what he already tried to do.
Yeah. Yes. But I enjoy watching C-SPAN. See, that I'm not gonna say that part, but I get a chance to watch C-SPAN live, and I just love those hearings. And so there just happened to be a hearing that I was watching the other day, and when we talk about decorum, in the people's house. So let me show this video.
Okay. You got the sound, buddy?
Oh, you can't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Oops. Hold on, bear with me where we got some technical difficulties.
Okay, it's cool. This is the United States Senate, right?
Yeah.
Supposed to be the most deliberate body in the world.
Can you hear it now?
Nah, I sure can't. A little bit.
Said Gritty CEO, like he's self-made. Sorry, I wish he was in the truck with me when I was building my plumbing company myself. My wife is running the office because I sure remember working pretty hard, long hours. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. You want to run your mouth? We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
Oh,
guy.
stop it.
Is that your solution, my republic?
No, sit down. Sit down. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Actively.
Okay. Sit down, please. All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it. If we can't, no, I am the one. I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
words and
You,
words.
you
And that's
you
I don't like you because you
Hold
just.
it.
Yeah, your sound went back out.
All right.
Yeah, but
Now, were you able to hear it?
yeah, a little bit of it. But I
Okay.
got the gist of what was going on.
Yeah.
So basically, in the United States Senate now, the Senate is supposed to the United States Senate specifically, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
prides itself or prided itself
Yeah.
on being the most deliberate body in the
Correct.
world. Right?
Correct. That's
I've
why the
heard that.
elections are every 6 years compared to the House every 2 years. The grown-ups in the
Exactly.
room. Yeah.
Exactly the Gronson rule.
Yeah.
So basically, it looks like a person on a committee was ready to go to blows
With the with the witness.
it,
Yeah.
with the witness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
this is where we are. I mean, this is where we are. You know,
Yep.
this is where we are. And I wish I had the answer for how to bridge this little gulf, because it seems like people have chosen their side and dug in. And it doesn't matter what type of logic you can use, what type of reasoning, rationale, um, to get to be open minded about certain issues, is that they are where they are, and there's nothing you can do to change my mind. Is what you say, the truth and facts has nothing to do with the way I want to feel.
Yeah. And
That's where we are.
also the other issue is that you have a lot of these extreme politicians. They're in these gerrymandered districts, so they don't have to
Right.
worry about, they don't have to worry about being voted out of office just because of how their district is.
So you use the term gerrymandered district,
Yes.
right? So some people might not know what that actually is.
Okay. Go while you're talking. I'm gonna pull up Jim Jordan's district so people can
Okay.
really see what I'm talking about. So go ahead and explain it
Yeah.
to the people.
So gerrymandering, that's a term that actually came. It was named after a person, Eldridge Gerry. I want to say he was a Massachusetts way back in the 1700s. But basically, when they gerrymander a district, and it's been done. North Carolina's been notorious for this, racially gerrymandering districts. So what they'll do, let's say there's a population of African Americans, right, and they live in one area, and let's say it's 100,000 or 200,000 live in one area, and these a group of people here, it's enough to actually have a representative. It's enough to put or elect someone in office who represents them. So what they do is they redraw the lines, and they draw district lines. And what they'll do, they'll draw the line right in the middle of where these Afro Americans live, or whatever group they're trying to marginalize the vote. And they'll have these individuals, people living in 2 or 3 different congressional districts, kind of watering down their vote and taking out their influence. So instead of 200,000 votes for one person, you cut them up where it's 10,000, and that 10,000 is in a majority district that doesn't represent their interests. So that's what they do. They'll draw the district lines in a way to kind of uh, minimize the voting power. Like for instance, in Greensboro,
Well, just
they drew a line
look at what I just
right in
posted.
the middle of North Carolina A&T, right down the middle. So there are students at A&T that live in two different voting districts. Why are we saying that?
This can you see it on the screen?
Yeah, that's Ohio, right?
This is Ohio, probably the most extreme gerrymandered district in the country, and this is the that Jim Jordan, chairman of the Judiciary Committee.
Okay. So so that's
I,
his
I
that's
mean,
his congressional district.
this is his congressional district.
So
Yep.
so what's going on here?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is an example of a gerrymandered district. Yep.
yeah, yeah. It's see where the lines are drawn. They are drawn in a way that only people that vote for him will be the majority at the voting polls.
Yep.
Instead of drawing his district in a way where it's filled out, they voted in a way to guarantee that he will never lose an election.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
So I think what were we just talking about? How did
No,
we get
we
on that
were
segue?
talking about voting, man,
Oh yeah,
and
voting. Yeah.
yeah.
I think one other thing that's, and I know that we're gonna do a show with it later, but we gotta talk
Uh,
about Israel and Palestine.
boy.
Yeah.
So that's a topic, and look, I don't mind going in with it, man. I've had some disagreement with some friends on this here, but I don't mind. Like me and you disagree on stuff, right?
Right.
Yes, but let your disagreement be based in logic, reasoning, and information. Don't let your disagreement be based in what you think and what you feel.
Yeah.
All right. And the thing about Israel, right, which is a state, first of all, to my people who are my church people who have uh, saying we need to stand by Israel. I need to let you understand this, and this is just a straight fact.
Yeah.
Um, Biblical Israel and the settler colonial state of Israel that was founded in 1948 are two different Israels, right? Uh, these
Let's say
are
that again.
two.
Say that again real quick. Say it again.
Okay, biblical Israel,
And when you say
as in
biblical Israel, what are you
as
referring
in
to?
Israel that Moses led those people out of Africa.
Yes.
Egypt is in Africa,
Yep.
along the Nile River. Nile River flows from Nubia all the way Central Africa, all the way up to the Mediterranean. That Africa right there. That um the Israel that Moses led out of Africa, right? Uh, and the Israel that was founded in 1948 as a settler colonial state, um, uh, are two different Israels.
Yep.
So when you're seeing up there saying support Israel, which one are you supporting? That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing that needs to be understood when you criticize any nation state for their actions, right? Uh, when we criticized the United States for what it was doing in Iraq, the Abu Ghraib, I can't even pronounce the prison, those atrocities, right?
Yes. Every
Um,
Robbie.
Abu Ghraib, thanks. Um, when criticizing America, you're not anti-Christian, right? Criticizing Israel for its actions does not make you anti-Semitic, right? Um, First of all, Semitic is anybody from that area that speaks those languages from that area, right? So that's what we have to start the foundation with.
But when you look
Um,
at the media, and I've been looking at a lot of the Western media,
yes,
and there is a direct attempt to stifle any criticism of Israel, conflating the state of Israel with the Jewish people that live there. and the Jewish people that live here in the United States. Okay?
Yeah.
They have been calling pro-Palestine protests, anti-Israel protests, and pro-Hamas protests. Yeah, because you have to look at the language.
Yeah.
Pro-Palestine does not mean anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas, or anti-Israel.
And first of all, the Palestinians are Semitic people.
I understand that.
But a lot of people out in the world don't understand that though.
The media drives the narrative.
That's true. That's true.
And so and so it's an issue because it is a deliberate attempt to not criticize what Israel is doing to Palestine right now.
Well, see,
For instance, let me
yes.
just say this real quick. For instance,
Uh-huh.
I denounce terrorism. I
Yes.
denounce killing innocent folks who have nothing to do with war. I denounce that. Okay, Israel instructed most of the Palestinians to flee north of Gaza to go down to southern Gaza. Okay,
Million people.
now yes, now they distributed leaflets today telling them that they have to go even further south because they're going to extend their operation into southern Gaza. After they've already bombarded northern Gaza, all the infrastructure is gone, pretty much. And now they're going to go into southern Gaza. So,
Yeah.
but if you criticize that, you're anti-Semitic.
So here's the thing, man. You know this is my area, right?
I know.
So my undergrad was international studies. Concentration was Middle East and Africa. What that Jasper?
Yeah, he wanted to say hello.
What's up, Jasper?
He's been down here.
What's up? What's up, Jasper? All right.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
on the podcast.
All right. What's up? Listen. What happened October 7th? Right. When Hamas went in, or when those people went in there in Israel and killed those people and took those hostages, that was, I think everybody can say it was reprehensible, right?
Right.
No justification for it whatsoever. Israel, everybody has a right to be outraged, right? As a matter of fact, the whole world was outraged. Joe Biden was outraged. You know, I was outraged. It's a horrible thing to do, killing innocent women. Anytime you kill innocent men, women, and children, you should be outraged, right?
Correct.
All right. So here's the question that I pose to people. This thing happened October 8th, right?
Yes. October 7th, October 8th. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly right. Why isn't the press, or why, I know Al Jazeera, other people reported,
Correct.
what Israel has been doing in Gaza, in the West Bank, in places like that ever since 1948? Why doesn't anybody talk about that? The innocent men, women, and children
Well, you actually
that
mean 1947.
1947, exactly, before 1947, exactly, when the Palestinians who have been living there, I know it was under British mandate, but hundreds of thousands have been living there for hundreds of years since the Ottoman Empire. I'm talking, you gotta know your history now, right?
Yeah.
These people have been living there since the Ottoman Empire. Now all of a sudden, what's it called? I forgot that term, the Nakba or something. Well, they just went in and started killing people, kicking them off their land,
Mm-hmm.
and have been systematically kicking the Palestinians off the land and building settlements ever since. Secondly, under peace agreements where land was supposed to be set aside for a Palestinian state,
Mhm.
Israel signed on to this, right? Israel continues building settlements on, on land that was supposed to be for the Palestinian state,
Yeah.
while simultaneously keeping the Palestinians in Gaza and other places in an apartheid situation. So, as I say, I don't condone terrorism, right? But we have to look at this thing realistically, right? We always tend to criticize the oppressed for how they react to being oppressed, right?
Right.
Because normally the oppressors have the power to control the narrative, right? So, like for instance, in August of 18, I want to say August 1831, right?
Yeah.
Nat Turner went. Nat Turner went.
But you talking about Nat Turner?
Yeah, I gotta bring it home. Nat Turner went. Not comparing, but I'm just making an illustration. Nat Turner went with his crew, killed women, men, and children, right? Innocent men, women, and children, right? Baby didn't have nothing to do with it, right? So, uh, history teaches us right and wrong, but anyway, let's keep it there. At that time, what Nat Turner did was reprehensible, right? But nobody wants to critique why
Why he
would
did it?
have drove
Yeah.
Nat Turner to commit such an act. So my question is, what conditions are the people in Gaza and other people living under that will have them vote for a government like Hamas to rule over them? Nobody wants to critique what Israel is doing on a constant basis to those people. Like I said, the oppressed always get critiqued based on how they react to being oppressed.
But
Yeah.
Israel is currently bombing women, children, grandmothers, who has nothing to do with this. And
Exactly.
you have to call it, and you have to call it out. And we
Yeah.
have to be able to have the conversation.
Well, here's the thing, and this is one of those unspoken things that people don't want to talk about, and it's how life is valued, right? And what you are socially conditioned to believe, as far as whose life is more valuable than another person. We see it all the time. Um, like we see here in America, we'll see uh, African American women or people be missing for
Mm-hmm.
weeks and weeks and years and years and years, and you see nothing on it, right? But when a tragedy becomes, or one of our white brothers and sisters are missing, the FBI, everybody's on it. It's just how it is.
Correct.
And the same thing when you look at Palestine, those Arabs, right? The Arabs, uh, they are not considered as human or
Right.
as more worthy.
Yep.
So 13 Israelis, excuse me, could be killed by an attack, but Israel's killed 10, 15,000,
Yeah.
and nobody's batting an eye, right? For instance, the Holocaust, right? One of the most tragic things that ever happened in world history,
Mm-hmm.
right there in Europe.
Yep.
Millions of Jews killed. You can't argue that, right? But what about the 10 to 12 million that was killed in the genocide in Africa, in the Belgian Congo, right?
Yeah.
With King Leopold, you know,
Yeah.
was cutting off people's hands and using babies as alligator bait, right? Or crocodile bait, excuse me, right? 10 to 12 million. And I guarantee you, this is the first time people have ever heard of that,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is where people put the value of human life. And so Israel can retaliate, and Israel can go off and bomb and do these things because it's Arab people that it's happening to.
with the
And the
assistance of
yeah, yeah,
the United
and the
States government,
world is slow. Say it again.
with the assistance of our government.
With the assistance of our government. Now, look, now the United States is trying to back off, right?
Yeah.
It's trying to back off. But no, and that's where the thing is, and that's where when people need to be informed, because just because the government says this is the enemy of the United States, that don't mean we should say, oh, they're the bad guys, right?
Correct. Correct.
Case in point, Nelson Mandela, right? Nelson Mandela and the ANC was considered a terrorist organization by the United States,
Correct.
right? They were considered a terrorist, right? Uh, when when Nelson Mandela founded the paramilitary wing of the ANC after the Sharpsville massacre,
Mm-hmm.
when the apartheid government went and shot hundreds of people in the back and killed them, they founded a paramilitary wing, and they were conducting bombings in South Africa. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Nelson Mandela is a terrorist. The ANC is a terrorist organization. The United States condemned them and all this stuff. They put Mandela in jail, but nobody critiqued what South Africa was doing, the conditions that would have created a Nelson Mandela and the ANC. And that's the issue, right? Another case in point.
Well,
They
I'm glad that you
say,
bring up. Oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I'm glad that you bring up Nelson Mandela, because I think a lot of it plays into how you learned about the history and how you form your I can't I can't think of my words tonight. Your
Your
worldview,
narrative.
your narrative.
Yeah, yeah,
So when I first heard about, even learned about Israel and what was going on, it was through reading Malcolm X, reading about Nelson
uh,
Mandela
and you're
and
welcome.
Martin Luther King.
And you're welcome.
Oh yeah, thank you, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's the inside joke.
yeah,
Go ahead and tell me the inside joke,
yeah.
man. Inside joke.
Well, my brother came back from Shaw as a freshman, and I was like, he gave me the autobiography of Malcolm X, and reading that book kind of lit a fire because I hated to read, but when I read that book and thinking about everything that I've heard about Malcolm X and actually reading his own words, like I say, it lit a fire, and that's what kind of
Good.
propelled my reading history. But the point I was trying to make is I didn't form my opinion based on what I learned in school. I formed my opinion about geopolitics, about oppression worldwide, based on how Malcolm X viewed it, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, those folks. And I think when you come from that perspective, you don't listen to that propaganda
Yeah,
because that's what it is.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. So it's funny how you're socialized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you bring up Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are socialized. We come through a school system where Malcolm X was the bad guy
Mm-hmm.
and Martin Luther King was the good guy,
Yes.
right? So my thing is, what type of conditioning are we been put under to even be able to differentiate between the two,
Yes. Yeah.
right? And that's when you start questioning. Yeah, but Nelson Mandela, yeah, I mean, and that, like for instance, when you say who's your enemy, right?
Yeah.
So Iran is an enemy of the United States, right? That's what they say, right?
Yeah. That's what they said.
That's what they say, right? Yeah. So yeah, if you tell me about Iran, they call the United States the Great Satan, right?
Yeah.
So, but there was a time, if you're old enough, and if you weren't so, had such a short memory, Iran was an ally of the United
Yeah.
States,
Yeah.
right? Against Iraq.
Yeah.
And then Iraq was an ally of the United States against Iran, right? So these things about who's the good guys and who are the bad guys. Here one thing I learned sitting in Dr. Amadifi's class, class at Shaw University 30 some years ago. There are no such thing there's no such thing as a good country or a bad country, right? Get that out of your head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said there are countries that do things in their interest,
Correct.
right? So sometimes they may do good things in their interest. Sometimes they may do bad things in their interest, but nevertheless, they do it in their interest.
Yeah.
Another thing, Hans Morgenthau, his principle was might makes right. So it's not about who's right and wrong.
Yeah.
It's who has the power, right?
Yeah. Who has the biggest army?
Who has the biggest army, exactly. So it's clearly in Israel, right, or in that area. It's not about right or wrong. No matter how you cut it, it is wrong to go uh, take people who have been inhabiting the land for hundreds and hundreds of years because of a political movement
Yeah.
to go kick them off the land and oppress them, right? But if you're supported by all of the uh, uh, military powers of the world, it's not about right and wrong.
Yeah.
You can do it and you can control the narrative. Yeah, man. We can go off on that.
Yeah. We're gonna go in it, but then there's something else that's been bothering me,
Yeah.
and I'm not one that like to talk about the victim Olympics.
Say it again.
Okay. It's called the victim Olympics, and let me explain what
Victim
I mean.
Olympics. The Victim Olympics. All right.
Anti-Semitism is a problem, right?
No doubt. Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at the way that the United States and a lot of other Western countries are attacking and throwing resources at anti-Semitism. What do you think would happen if they applied that same um, that that same enforcement and rigor against racism, against sexism, against people who have a different lifestyle than you, the LGBTQ community?
Yeah.
Imagine if we denounced all of those isms the way that everybody is denouncing anti-Semitism right now.
Yeah. Look. Forcing college presidents to make statements.
Yes.
Well, it goes back to social conditioning and what I said earlier, Anthony, is that in this society, it's who's human,
Yeah.
whose life is valued,
Yeah.
right? Like you talked about uh, Martha King, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Martha King had a strategy, right? Uh, his strategy is that he understood that America did not care if black people were getting brutalized,
Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they recruited uh, a lot of these very brave white students and white activists to come down, and the Lord bless them, they're heroes. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them lost their lives. They recruited them to come down south because if America saw them get beat up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Case in point, in Mississippi, the Mississippi Burning movie was based on Cheney, Schwerner, and Goodman, right?
Yep.
Civil rights worker that went missing in Mississippi, right? People have been getting lynched in Mississippi for years,
Mm-hmm.
getting missing for years, right? If Cheney would have been missing, you think the FBI and the government would have went down there? right? So to your point, it's not about it would be nice if they would come at that with the same vigor, but the point is, unfortunately, on a global level, national level, it's just that some lives are not considered as valuable um, as others.
Yeah.
What Joanne say? Joanne said something.
She said,
In high school, the Black History class was the only one that was censored. All assignments and projects and books had to be approved. Is that Newberry High? That sounds like that's the day. Was that Newberry High, Joanne? Yeah. So yeah. So that's where it is. That yeah, it would be nice, if they had the same rigor, but at the end of the day, it's who has power and who's considered uh, to have a life of value, and that's unfortunately where we are. Uh,
yeah,
where we are. Some people who could live in certain situations, and since they're not considered valuable or a valued group of people, then they just don't get it. And that's what's happening in
yeah,
not taking anything away from what's happening in Israel, what they've gone through, and things of that nature. But if you sit there and oppress a group of people, put them in an apartheid state, control their resources, don't let any resources in, control the water, cut the internet off.
mhm,
If you sit there and make these people live like animals, right? Not condoning, right? Uh, uh, Got condoning what happened, but what do you expect oppressed people to do, right?
mhm,
And what in history, oppressed people have always had the lesser, right?
yeah,
Not the resources. They can't fight a fair fight because they don't have the same weapons that the oppressor does, right? The ANC didn't have the might of the South African army,
no,
right? Right? Like the look the United States, the Sons of Liberty were considered terrorists by
mhm,
the British.
yeah,
Those terrorists going in there, uh,
yeah,
throwing that tea into the Boston Harbor, terrorists, So they didn't have the resources of the mighty British Army at stake, if I may use that example,
yeah,
right? All those slave rebellions in the South. So the thing is, so but like I said before, you can't criticize the oppressed, no matter who they are, for how they react to being oppressed, and nobody wants to give that honest critique.
no. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's very hard to watch um, on the news when I see people eh, blaming the. You drop a bomb on a hospital. We're not talking about. We're talking about years and years. We're not talking about within the what's happening this month, but in general,
Yeah.
um, how people rationalize that it's Hamas.
So
I'm
so
dropping
so
bombs and I'm killing women and children, but it's because it's Hamas's fault.
all right,
And,
so
and they
so
had that conversation. I mean, it's like it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
so let's look at the logic, right?
Yeah.
So Hamas is a elected government, right? Right?
Well, they in 2006 hasn't been an
Yeah,
election since.
yeah. Well, kind of like what Netanyahu did, refused to
Yeah.
step down, right?
Yeah.
So you can't control, you can't criticize them, right? So this is a government that represents them, right? Right?
But it
Well,
is. But with this caveat,
yeah,
half the people that are alive in Gaza didn't even vote in the election. They weren't even alive.
yeah, that part, right? And if they were to vote now, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So you're criticizing them for who represents them, right?
Yeah.
So 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 half the people didn't vote for Donald Trump, more than half the last election, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're using that logic, does that mean that we, the world, holds all Americans accountable for things that Donald Trump or his administration did while he was in office, or Joe Biden, right? Uh, uh, over half the people voted for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is all of America held accountable for Joe Biden, some of his policies, some of the things he's doing, the questionable things that his foreign policy initiatives are doing, right? And actually, that's what happens. That's why Americans become terrorist targets sometimes, not because they're Americans, but because of Americans' foreign policy.
Correct.
So yeah. So that logic kind of baffles me that you're gonna punish, brutally punish the entire people, because of a government that's in place that won't step down.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, the only difference is that Netanyahu refuses to step down as well.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's where we are. And like I said, people say, well, you kind of take sides. Well, you know what? I'm kind of biased towards people who are oppressed. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Nat Turner, his rebellion was brutal. He killed them innocent women, men, and children. It was horrible, right? But history, even though he committed atrocities, right? Can't ignore that. History is not really going to condemn him too much, right?
Yeah.
When Toussaint Louverture was down there in Haiti, brutally killing the French, right? And killing the women, all those kind of things in the Haitian Revolution, people are not going to, now we have some hundreds of years in front of us, behind us now, that they're not going to criticize Toussaint Louverture for what he may have done, his tactics. Nobody's going to criticize some things that the Americans or the colonists may have done in the American Revolution, right? Right? Because they were considered being oppressed, right? So my thing is, we if you're gonna have an honest critique the conditions that create the reactions.
Yeah.
That's all I say. And if you're gonna have an honest critique of the conditions and an honest critique of what's going on and happening, then that's going to require you to have an open mind.
Yeah.
And what it's going to tell you is that some things that you may have been taught may kind of not be untrue. Like, for instance, I hear a lot of my brothers, a lot of African Americans, like, you can't mess with Israel, whatever. Do they know that in Israel, the black Jews are one of the most oppressed groups there?
Yeah.
So
The Ethiopian Jews. Yeah.
The Ethiopian Jews, that's right. They are oppressed, right? Because guess what? Racism exists
Mm-hmm.
in Israel. Why? Because Israel was founded by, you gotta understand, these were displaced European Jews.
Yes.
And sometimes they bring those same unfortunate mindsets to wherever they go. Unfortunately. Yeah. And so now you have Ethiopian Jews who have, I guess you have a right to return, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That are being oppressed, that can't marry, can't do things like that. They have these miscegenation laws and things of that nature. The same ones that exist in the United States, right? So what are you supporting, right? Are you supporting a religion? Are you supporting a political movement? Exactly what are you supporting? Because as I said earlier,
I want to ask people.
people.
I see a lot of people that say I stand with Israel. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
And I think when they say that, they're thinking about the people that Moses led out of Africa. That's what I'm assuming they're thinking, right? Yeah. Because right now, if they go try to, let's say right now I go convert, because you can convert to Judaism, right? Let's say I convert to Judaism, right, today, right? And I go try to move to Israel, one of those settlements on the Palestinian land, right?
Mm-hmm.
right? They're not gonna let me, right? Or I'm gonna be treated almost like 1950s United States, separate but equal. So that's what I'm saying. When you say you support this, I need to understand when I stand with Israel.
Yeah.
I need you to define what that means.
Correct.
Define. And if you're gonna pull out the scripture, right?
Yeah.
Then great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then so you're talking about those people.
Yeah.
So when you say they're not the same,
Yeah.
that's not being anti-Semitic. That's just stating historical fact. But what happens is, what's that cognitive dissonance? When facts or information conflicts with what you've been taught or a long-held belief,
It's an
this
uncomfortable
generation
feeling.
is
I've been there
uncomfortable.
before.
Huh?
Hey, look, it's uncomfortable. I look. I've been there before. I had to change my views on certain things once I get educated.
Yeah,
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard. I know it's not what you're talking about. Things that you grew up with, things that you learned in your community,
Yeah.
among your family, and things of that nature that's been embedded in you for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
You had a whole mindset, and it's
Yeah.
called a mindset, right?
Yeah.
That's based on misinformation, and then when you get information or whatever
Yeah.
that disprove something that you hold true,
Yeah.
it's hard to be walking straight in a direction the same way, same speed for so many years.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you gotta go that way.
Yeah.
But if
And
that way is the right way, but it's easy to keep going straight, right?
yep.
But that's
It.
where intellectual honesty comes in. So once you know better and you choose not to do better, that's where the intellectual honesty issue comes in. And that's when we having these discussions, people start shutting down and shouting you down
Yeah.
because they know that you're about to expose their fallacy
Mm-hmm.
that they don't want to let go of. And before they let you get to that point, they're going to go ahead and shout you down.
Yeah. It's like this conversation that I had with this guy at work. Um, he was saying how, long time ago, he said America is the greatest country in the world. And I was like, have you ever been to another country? He was like, yeah, I vacationed in Dominican Republic and Cancun. And I'm like, I'm, I'm like, I'm like,
Yeah,
so that's your basis for saying that.
yeah,
You vacation in the Dominican Republic. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And that's another thing, man. Look, being patriotic and things of that nature, that doesn't mean you can't critique where you live,
Correct.
right? Right? Uh, you can critique foreign policy, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you can critique colonialist practices, right? You know, you can critique the simplest experiment when the government was infecting all those African Americans down
Mm-hmm.
there with syphilis in Alabama, right? You can critique the eminent domain that was used to take land from uh, African Americans and Bahawis through them, right? You can critique the farm the United States Agriculture Department that refused to give loans to African Americans
Mm-hmm.
that caused them to lose their farms, right? So you can still hold your country in esteem, but you can critique things that it has done or continues to do that causes harm to people that look like you or share your
Yes.
same common background.
Correct.
So you can do two things at one time.
Well, look, man, it's the top of the hour. This hour went by fast.
But it did, didn't it?
Yeah, it went
We
by
got into a
fast.
little
Wow.
bit. We got into a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. But we do have a another broadcast coming where we're going to dedicate it to talking about Israel and Palestine a little more in depth. We have a couple of guests that's going to be coming on to add to different perspectives to the conversation. Um, so yeah, we're going to have that tough conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And look, and when we have that conversation, um, bring your books or bring your Google,
yeah. Yeah.
and just look at the history and come to your own conclusion,
Yeah.
right? Uh,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah. All right, man. Look,
Uh,
New Bern High got a big game tonight, man. I'm trying to see if I could catch some of it
yeah.
online.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um, that's right, because they moved the game to tonight
They
because of
moved the
weather.
game to tonight. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, me and my brother, his wife, my wife, we look, we talked about New Bern High football. We talked about that scandal. But I tell you what, last Friday we went back home and we supported them. So
yeah.
we still
What
support
and
New Bern.
yeah, always will support the Bears, man.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Look. I love all my kids to death, man. I
Yeah.
love them. I
Yeah.
support them. Now
Yeah.
I critique them too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can do two things at one time.
Yep.
You can love and call out what's wrong.
Yeah.
It's possible.
All right. Well,
So
look.
hopefully they'll bring it home tonight.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll. It's a tough game. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks
All right.
everyone for tuning in.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our next episode because it's gonna be a banger. I tell you that. All
Yeah.
right.
All
All
right.
right. Y'all take care.
All right, man. Take care.